Jean Grey got an additional point of power in yesterday's OTA update. I think this card has a lot of potential in the format. When she's played to the right side location, she disrupts your opponent from being able to play Sentry on 4. She also forces things like Annihilus or Hela into her path, so you can pair them with something like Cosmo to shut them down. She makes it so Professor X can't be slammed down and cheesed onto the board, and she makes it so if your opponent wants to just curve out expensive stuff in the late game, you could deploy a US agent to her path, getting his -4 penalty now on a bunch of different things. Today's deck list is a little disruptive deck, which is one of my absolute favorite kind of things to play in Snap, and Jean honestly just feels great in this format in tandem with other disruptive pieces. We have Storm as well as Goose to help restrict our opponent's ability to play to the board, even the games where we don't draw Jean. We have Angela in tandem with cards that move around the board like Nightcrawler and Jeff, who also have nice synergy with Jean. You can play these into the Jean path and then move them out later, kind of giving it up after you force your opponent to play there. We round things out with a couple other stat sticks. Nebula plays well in a non-Jean path earlier in the path that you're going to Storm, and Havoc slams down into the Storm path or could just be played on turn 4 or 5 since this deck isn't that resource hungry to pump up really large. The last slot in the deck is definitely a pet card of mine, but one that I do think is good here. Juggernaut can clear your opponent's plays in the Storm path on 4, but it can also make sure that your opponent's Jean path stays open, so their 5 and 6 costs in the later turns have to be played there, making your disrupted things like Cosmo extra effective. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed today's games. They do a fantastic job showcasing all the disruptive elements and stats that this deck brings to the board. If you do like what you see, snap that button for the rest of the day. Have fun. I'm gonna do this and just hope they end up with a cheaper card in the end. Although them playing 2 cheap cards doesn't inspire confidence. Actual perfects. It's possible I should have just Cosmo'd here and hope for the best. Victory. But again, so this interaction here, if my opponent has any card in their hand that costs 1, 2, or 3, they have to play that card here to start, meaning they can't play a 6 if they have any card that costs less than 4 in hand. So long as one of these 4 cards costs 1, 2, or 3, they can't Hela. He's very nice.
Opponent snapped.
So they're snapping because it's a TVA game, yeah? So we'll just get rid of that. Snap.
Wind, aid my hand.
It's 12 into the flooded. Really want to draw like Nebula or Nightcrawler next turn. Like, our game plan isn't necessarily amazing against Loki's game plan, but our deck isn't really fantastic to take a bunch of cards from either. Okay, so this puts me to 11, and it puts them to 6. And the biggest card in my deck is 4, and there's 2 Cosmos on the right, so I can't get Juggernauted there. they would have had to draw like Mockingbird off the top of their deck to beat us. But even Mockingbird, Mockingbird would only be, they'd be at 6, and Mockingbird would be +6, so they'd go to, Mockingbird would get us exactly, it would be 12 to 11. Yeah, they don't have it.
Victory. Opponent snapped. Snap.
Well, I mean, I was at least neutral on some of my cards. How does Goose with Jean Grey? So Goose with Jean Grey is actually a pretty unique kind of obnoxious. If you have Goose and Jean Grey together and your opponent has, say, any cheap card in their hand that they can play to the Jean Grey path, they'll be forced to play the cheap card first. So basically, if you go Goose into Jean Grey and your opponent has Red Hulk and a 1, 2, or 3 drop, they just can't play the Red Hulk. Is Jean worth it at 6k token? I'd be very surprised if Jean is worth spending resources on.
Wakanda forever.
Clear for takeoff.
Wait, did they just give me a 410? Oh, honey. Playing Namor on Jean Grey days seems a little loose. Not a lot of inked Namors out there, gamers.
Cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place.
We win, yeah? Because the Black Panther can't double on the left and then it gets shrunk by US Agent? Got him. Look at our annoying little turds, chat. They're so annoying. Who's an annoying Marvel Snap card? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Do I have all the cards in the game? Yes, I have all the cards in the game and then some.
Oh, snap.
My Marvel Snap collection is very, very full. Jeff even has unreleased cards. He has so many cards. It's true, you know. Black Knight is the more unique / harder card to replace. However, it is worth pointing out that there aren't any top tier Black Knight decks at the moment. But the format could always change.
Parker.
Parker!
Wind, aid my hand.
If they have some good pixie rolls here, they could get into... They could get into the mute roll. Nightcrawler wins the left, so does Jeff. I think there is a very real chance that Jean Grey creates a little disruptive deck similar to this vein that gives us a predator to these Professor X decks. I feel like gonna do this to try and play for priority next turn.
Snap.
Can Cosmo them. Snap was late. Probably just Gladiator middle. And then like next turn we like Gene Havoc the left. Looking to dodge Killmonger here. They have a Dino or a White Tiger.
Clear for takeoff.
Mysterio should go back to a 2-5. Completely disagree with that. Mysterio is a perfectly fine card as it stats that needs no adjustment. This is just a 9? I think it's just 9 if we stay. Gosh, that beats us, doesn't it? I'd have won with the Jug Angela middle. Oh my god, we won the breaker? Crazy.
Victory.
Thought we were short on the right. See some folks talking about weekly login rewards. Good to see those back. It's great if they do those every month. I must play center. You're not my real dad, Pet Mansion. You don't tell Jeff how to live his life. I think I'm gonna Cosmo here, so that way I can armor Nebula next turn. I think is the game plan. Watch this be Deadpool Killmonger. Fuck you. So frustrating. It's the actual perfects every game.
Systems go.
I don't think there's cards in their deck that accomplish that, yeah?
Aid my hand.
Gene Grin synergy with Jeff and Nightcrawler on display there, letting us ignore her effect for the turn. You play your cards and then move them out. You don't have to start in Gene's path. Stormy here is not stellar against Sentry
Aid
decks.
my hand.
Although I suppose if I do this, they can't annie me after they sentry. If I was playing for keeps here, I think I would snap at this point, but I just want them to stay in the game. Storm Goose Cosmo is a really solid 1, 2, 3 punch. Is there ever a world where I'm supposed to play around a Jeff out of them? I really appreciate all of chat recognizing that Goose exists and suggesting I shouldn't play US Agent into the Goose path, but Luke Cage is also on the board, so you failed the second half of the exam. 3 of my cards have penalties on them, which means Abomination can be played center. They're just leaving.
Victory.
I think I don't play around Jeff and I go move Nightcrawler, play Jeff here. And just accept that we lose if they have a shark. I think when this turn happens and they don't play into Xandar, I would snap them. If I didn't want to try and keep them in the game. Especially with that diff. LOL. Honestly, with the Havoc draw, do I just do this? Like save Jug for later? Yeah, probably. Well, I guess US Agent in the center makes my helicarrier smaller. What are the chances there's a Shang-Chi deck? Non-zero, but I should have priority going into the last turn when they want to Shang-Chi. So we can Juggernaut to keep them off of Shang as opposed to playing the armor proactively.
Victory.
That's all. Snap the like button if you'd be so kind, and check back in again tomorrow for another highlight.